NASA aims to send 3 new types of robots to the moon by the end of next year, including the first drill to ever mine material from the moon. Here are the details. NASA recently announced that it will send the first robotic drill to the moon by the end of next year, and that the drill site will be on a ridge near the moon's south pole called the Shackleton Connecting Ridge. The plan is to send a moon lander equipped with a special drill robot, a flying drone, and a wheeled drone that will test the moon's first 4G base station, which will also be housed in the lander. The drill unit will stay attached to the lander, drilling a hole of up to a meter deep, while a mass spectrometer analyzes all the soil and gas particles that the drill brings up to the surface. The main aim of the mission is to find water ice in the moon's soil, as such a find would greatly boost the sustainability of any future moon base. One problem is that water ice cannot exist in the uppermost meter of the moon's soil if it receives too much heat from direct sunlight. So the site was selected to be cool enough to preserve water ice while still receiving enough sunlight to power the drill for 10 days. Meanwhile, the flying drone will gather surface data while the wheeled drone will test the 4G network. NASA says deploying and testing these types of technologies is critical to establishing a robust, long-term presence in deep space and to prepare for NASA's upcoming Artemis missions to the moon. In April, NASA awarded a $2.9 billion contract to Elon Musk to build the new moon mission's human landing system, rejecting a much more expensive bid from Jeff Bezos' company Blue Origin. However, Bezos is now making an extraordinary offer to try to win the contract after already losing it. Here are the details. BBC reports that Jeff Bezos is offering NASA a discount of more than $2 billion for the agency to give his space company a lucrative human lunar landing system contract that his rival Elon Musk's SpaceX won in April this year. In Bezos' original proposal for the lunar landing system, his Blue Origin company would team up with other companies to build 3 vehicles called Elements. These 3 elements would be launched separately and link up in Earth orbit. This is where the transfer element would be used to transport the whole package to the moon. Once in position over the moon, the 2 other elements would detach, using the descent element's thrusters to slow them down so they could fall to the moon's surface. The descent element would also protect the astronaut carrying ascent element from flying rocks, although this would mean that the astronauts would have to climb down a long ladder to get to the surface. Once it's time to return, the ascent element would fire its own rockets to blast back into moon orbit, where it would meet up again with the transfer element. The transfer element would then take the astronauts and their ascent element back to Earth. Once in Earth orbit, the astronauts would dish the transfer element and try not to burn up during the dangerous re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. After re-entry, the ascent element would deploy large parachutes to land on Earth's surface. In other words, the 3 elements of Bezos' system would work very much the same as NASA's first mission to the moon back in 1969. While the world dreams about getting to Mars, China is targeting the moon for exploration. This means that the moon could soon be a source of conflict between Earth's superpowers because of possible future questions regarding who controls the mining rights to different parts of the moon. China's Space Administration, the CNSA, currently has a rover exploring the far side of the moon as part of its Chang'e 4 mission. It is also preparing to launch the Chang'e 5 mission this year to collect lunar samples and bring the samples back to Earth. The nation plans to add to its impressive list of lunar projects with a new set of missions to explore the moon's south pole. Chang'e 6, a backup mission for this year's sample return launch, is scheduled to head to the moon in 2023 or 2024. Chang'e 7 is scheduled to launch around 2024 with the dual aims of landing on the south pole of the moon and closely studying the region from orbit. The Chang'e 7 mission will be quite a complex mission featuring 5 different spacecraft. These 5 spacecraft would weigh 8.2 tons and would be thrusted into space by a Long March 5 rocket. The 5 spacecraft would be a mini flying craft, a surface rover, a lander, a relay satellite, and an orbiter. The orbiter would scan the south pole of the moon from orbit using sensitive measuring equipment. The lander and the rover would also feature such equipment. The mini flying craft would carry a water molecule analyzer to take measurements in permanently shadowed areas at the lunar south pole. Following this Chang'e 7 mission, the Chang'e 8 mission would be another lunar South Pole landing mission planned for the late 2020s. That mission would include test technology for using local resources to manufacture objects by using 3D printers, according to Chinese press statements. A Japanese startup is speeding up moon exploration by getting investors to buy into 3 lunar missions that are on schedule to start launching next year already. Next year's moon mission will deliver Dubai's first lunar lander and a Japanese moon robot to the surface of the moon. Here are the details. TechCrunch reports that a Japanese technology startup has raised millions to build a moon lander that will deliver the United Arab Emirates' first rover to the moon next year. To date, the relatively small Japanese company, called iSpace, has raised $195.5 million through crowdfunding, plus a $500,000 payment from Google's Lunar X Prize contest in 2018 for designing a prototype Hakuto lunar rover. The updated Hakuto R lunar flight model has reached its final stages of assembly and is on schedule for a launch in the fourth quarter of 2022. It will be carried to space on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launched from the Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral in Florida. Apart from the UAE's moon rover, the lander will also deliver a Japanese lunar robot and 3 static onboard experiments from Canada. In 2023, a second Hakuto R lander will deliver an iSpace rover intended to collect data to support subsequent missions. 2024 will see iSpace send a larger lunar lander that is currently being developed in the US. iSpace's ambitions lie in commercial landers aimed at carrying rovers and science experiments to the lunar surface. It is also looking to monetize data it gathers from the moon, which it hopes to sell on to other companies, such as space agencies and research organizations, to aid preparations for their own missions to Earth's nearest neighbor. Scientists are proposing that sperm and egg samples from 6.7 million of Earth's species should be sent to a gene vault built on the moon as a modern global insurance policy. Such a lunar gene bank, which could also house seed and spore samples, is envisaged as being built under the moon's surface in a hollow, cooled lava tube. Specimens deposited in the vault would be kept refrigerated at cryogenic temperatures, with the facility's electrical power coming from solar panels on the moon's surface. The gene bank would preserve Earth's genetic diversity in the event of a global catastrophe, such as one that might be caused by climate change, a supervolcano, or an asteroid impact. The fear is that such a catastrophe could destroy existing gene banks on Earth. A new study into the possibility of creating such a vault on the moon is being led by mechanical engineer Jack Kantanga of the University of Arizona. According to his initial calculations, transporting some 50 samples for each of the 6.7 million target species would require 250 rocket launches.
For more news animations and explainers, hit the subscribe and bell button to join the TomoNews family. Thanks for watching.